What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of WrestleZone.com, and today's date is May 23rd, 2021. And tragic anniversary day with Owen Hart, obviously. Always think about Owen, and just what a great, underrated, and just missed talent. Man, I just think about what he can do, what he could have done and what more was to come from him and what he did too in a lot of ways. He was just so unique. I remember, I always say that Eddie Guerrero was kind of my first heel, but more I think about it, the more I think Owen was my first heel that I was like, man, I don't like that guy. And that's the name of the game. That is the name of the game. But we're not here to talk about all that. We're here to talk about two Dynamite dudes. And as you can see, it's just one. It's just me this week. And we are live. I am live. And Marcus was in Pennsylvania this weekend, so he's playing a bit of catch up with family life, and so to speak. So here I am, gonna review AEW Dynamite, give a recap, and you guys join in on the conversation. I see some folks tuning in here, so thank you very much. Yeah, feel free to throw some questions out there. I want to talk about not just Dynamite, but the fact that we got a new show on tap coming up for All Elite Wrestling. In AEW Rampage, which will be Friday night at 10 p.m. starting next year, I believe. So pretty cool stuff going there. That was big news that broke, obviously. And plus we'll get a little bit of a lead into Double or Nothing. Overall, I thought this show was pretty darn good. Neat main event. Very neat main event. And this is a cool aspect I want to talk about this week, is the fact that Young Bucks really good heels, I thought. And if you listen to certain podcasts or certain episodes, you'll get a lot of different takes on that. So, and I listened to both that were very different from one another. So it's kind of neat. I did want to talk about this. And what the hell? Let's kick it off like that. First off, I thought it was really cool how the promo that they gave to Brian Pillman at the beginning of the show played into the main event, obviously. With him being in it, and he was a focal point of that main event. And now here's where the controversy kind of lies, or the polarizing opinions, if you will, from two wrestling notables. So first off, yesterday I was on shift at WrestleZone.com. You can go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling news needs. And hey, go to WrestleZone.com to follow them on Twitter, us on Twitter. And you can follow me on Twitter. How do I point? I can't do it. No, I'm not good at this. All right, whatever. You see my Twitter name down there. Anyways, so what I want to talk about is so Lance Storm. He does a weekly, I think it's a weekly thing on Wrestling Observer Radio, and he does a show with Brian Alvarez. So he's talking about how the main event was, and he thought it was great, and how it put Brian Pillman Jr. in a position. He was the focus. He said, what did he say here? That they accomplished two things. One team got over, or one team won or went over, while the other one got over. And that was accomplishing the two things, meaning that the Young Bucks won, obviously, but who got over were the Varsity Blonds. And I agree with them. I feel they did a pretty good job positioning Brian Pillman. Now, let's go. There's the pushback there. And who can you guess might be the pushback to this opinion? Is Jim Cornette. So I listened to his episode and his recap of it. And he did not like it at all. Obviously, he's not a big fan of the Young Bucks and not a big fan of that style. And what was interesting, too, very interesting, is that Lance Storm talked about the Young Bucks reminiscing the Midnight Express in a lot of ways, of how they worked the arm and, told the story and then got the heat and then, got it back and all that stuff. So that was kind of interesting to hear from that thing too, especially with who gave his next opinion by Jim Cornette, and saying that it got the Young Bucks over. It did not get Brian Pillman over and actually damaged him or did not make him position him in the best light. Now, if you're thinking about certain aspects from an older school perspective and how wrestling was done, I would say kind kind of, but not totally, because, there's the way wrestling is obviously on television so much, and it's more attainable as it was in comparison back in the day. It's like a little moment in Brian Pillman Jr.'s career. It's a cool moment. It's a big moment for him. But it's also like, in the grand scheme of things, it will be a moment, but it's not going to be like this defining moment. I think Pillman Jr. will have much more opportunities to get his defining moments. This is just a step up the stairs, so to speak, I think. Now, from the angle of Cornette and him being that it didn't position him like, okay, he lost and he submitted. I kind of agree. Like, okay, maybe he shouldn't have submitted. Maybe just get the pinfall and count, something like that. But AEW has also been about, pinfalls and submissions, not a whole lot of like DQ finishes or anything. You don't see, very rarely do you see that on AEW. Maybe once or twice even. I don't know. Is that too much? But whatever it may be, it's very different from, what we're used to. So with Pillman, I don't think it really necessarily puts him in a bad light. I think the Varsity Blondes are just starting off their team, and they're going to build up. They're going to build up more and more. Now, to Cornette's point of it, you wouldn't, if you have a star in waiting and you want to build to this, you don't want to maybe necessarily do that. But again, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. This is kind of another thing I wrote about this past over the weekend here, was Eric Bischoff gave his opinion on WrestleMania Backlash in the zombie segment. Now, I'm not a fan of that segment, like the zombies and all that stuff. I didn't even watch it, to be honest. But it's just not my thing, and I'm sure it's not a lot of wrestling fans' things. As you could probably tell, if you're on social media or Twitter or anything like that, that's probably a big thing. So, I'm not a big fan of that. But Bischoff raises a very valid point. Not only is it cross-promotional, like you can get that reach of, preteens and teens. I don't know how big of that would necessarily work. I'm just thinking from my perspective as when I was a kid. I wasn't biggest fan of like when Chucky scared the shit out of Rick Steiner, if you remember that on Nitro, and just different things like that. That did not catch me as like a fan. But like if you're a fan of like zombies and you're familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy and Dave Bautista's work as an actor, not as a wrestler, and then you kind of tune into WWE, maybe there's some sort of connection that can be made. Hey, maybe the zombies thing was even like not the teenagers thing, but maybe they saw something else on the show that was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. I'm trying to think who was even on the card. I kind of like that Drew McIntyre guy or somebody like that, So maybe there's something to that. But I think the big thing that I took away from Bischoff's comments on it was that in the grand picture thing, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. It's a hiccup. It's something, he put it in the aspect of it's a buffet. You're at a buffet, and that's one little item on the buffet. If you're at the buffet, if you don't like that item, you're not going to flip the whole buffet table over because you don't like that one item. And I thought, heck, admittedly, I get caught up in the social media, like, oh, F that, this is horrible. Like, I remember being so pissed off and like just thinking it was so dumb about Bray Wyatt getting burnt alive. I thought it was so stupid. But to this aspect of it all, it's not a big deal. Like, nobody's talking about the ending of Revolution at this moment in time. Nobody's talking about certain, and that was a big angle. That was a huge angle. But nobody's like, oh my God, look at that coming in, or that still affected me with Dynamite. Now, maybe they lost some people, maybe, but if you're going to still tune in, you're still going to tune in now. And that doesn't mean that new people won't tune into the show either. There's a lot of different things that kind of take away from it. I get it if it's not your cup of tea, but from where I'm coming from with this Brian Pillman Jr. and did he get hurt by this? No. I did think it helped him. He got to showcase a little bit of his personality a lot for the very first time on Dynamite by that promo. So yes, he's in a much position. I don't agree with Cornette on this. I just think he's in a better position than where he was before. And I don't think it puts a ceiling on him. No, I think that's damage done over time. If that's the case, that's like death by 1,000 cuts. Now, like, so for example, like we're used to seeing somebody like Dolph Ziggler. I like Dolph Ziggler, but like he's lost so many times, so I only see him in a certain light. That's been death by 1,000 cuts over time. Pillman has if you even want to call this a hiccup, people might not even call it a hiccup, but it's not. Like, I don't think it is, from my opinion. But this is just one little thing. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. I thought it was a good main event. I thought Young Bucks look great as heels and are great heels. I thought they did a very good job. And yes. And just positioning the Varsity Blondes with them is a plus. So good main event. It just set the table for some new people. And, not only that, but it furthered the storyline, what we're probably going to be seeing at Double or Nothing with the Young Bucks going up against Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, for those AEW tag team titles, which I could see those titles changing hands. I really could. And I could also see, because you think about it, what titles probably aren't changing hands as the World Championship. I could not imagine Kenny Omega losing this title so soon. And then I can't imagine Miro losing his title to Lance Archer. He just won it, and Kenny pretty much, he's still on his run. So I think it's too early for both those guys. But you know what? We can see Hikaru Shida dropping the title to Britt Baker. I think that's a safe bet. Obviously I can't say, hey, yeah, I guarantee it. I'm not Joe Namath. I'm not Tony Khan. But yeah, I think there's a lot to kind of take away from that. But yeah, so I'm very intrigued by that. I think that we got some really, really good baby faces in Eddie Kingston and John Moxley, and we got some really, really good heels in Matt and Nick Jackson and the Young Bucks. Plus the juxtaposition of styles, Young Bucks to do that. And we've seen the Young Bucks be able to kind of work a different way when they're working with a different team. And still they get their shit in too. So I'm really intrigued by that match. It's one of the ones I think is going to be a pretty good show to not only view, but be at. I'm going to be there. So it'll be kind of neat to see it up front in person. Speaking of what will be cool to see up front in person is Sting wrestling his first main event live, or wrestling his first AEW event live in person, tagging with Darby Allin against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. This angle wasn't rushed. I think it's been playing up for weeks. And Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky got to cut a bit of a promo and flex a little bit of their mic skills. I thought they did a pretty good job. I think it's just something that's going to even develop a little bit more over time. I think they got to kind of, after this feud, maybe find some sort of footing with it a little bit more. But this is the start of it. And, we're seeing how Scorpio does it. I think he's a pretty good heel. And Ethan Page has been a heel for, if you've caught him with Impact and everything like that. So, there's a lot to kind of think about with that. Sting, Darby's obviously going to be doing a lot of the work, but I think it'll be pretty cool to see Sting like live. Are you guys excited about it? Chime on in if you guys want to. It's if you have any questions or you have any opinions on what's going on with how you thought of Dynamite. What do you think of Miro's promo, which I'm just about to talk about here soon? There's a lot of kind of neat aspects I want to get your takes on if you guys want to chime on in. So otherwise, let's see where I want to go with this. What's next? Let's go with let's take a look here. Yeah, let's let's just go with the Miro. I really liked it. I really liked his promo. It was matter of fact, and he tied in a little bit of his personal life with the angle. Like he thanked Jesus to start it off, and then he thanked Jesus for giving him strength, and then being able to kick some ass, basically. And so I think he tied a little bit of his own personal feelings of such a big moment for him, but also tied it into the actual angle. And talked about Darby, got some heat on Darby. And, I'm sure we're going to see those two clash at some point again down the road. But this is going to be quite the change of opponent from Darby to Lance Archer. And I think Lance did a very good job, too, talking some smack on the mic. This was overall a really good promo-based Dynamite. We got a lot of talking. And I'm not. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think. I think that's we see a whole lot of wrestling nowadays. Like, and I mean from an in-ring standpoint, where it's like matches go down and all that kind of thing. Whereas there hasn't been as much as a focus as people talking on the mic, but this week we got a little bit of that, and you can make the argument like Dynamite's a little all over the place here and there. There's a lot to cram in, and there's a lot to take in, and that's been a talk, in a lot of ways, for me and Marcus on this show is like, hey, what, if they tighten up the ship a little bit or like hone in on certain people, that makes those moments and stuff mean more. Now, but as far as this promo goes and this interaction goes, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Just two big guys slapping meat. Archer, I really like Archer a lot. He's one of my favorite modern wrestlers today, and I think it'll be pretty cool. I like how Miro left the intrigue of threatening Jake in it, and that could definitely be a factor in the match. I made the pitch to Marcus a couple weeks ago that I would like to see Miro and Roberts align instead. I think Archer's kind of proven that he can talk on the mic by himself and handle like his own demeanor and stuff like that. While Jake, I think, can flourish more as in a heel role and get something across. So I think that'd be kind of cool if maybe they pulled a fast one on all of us and tied Jake with Miro even after Miro threatened him. I think that'd be kind of cool. It would be. I could also see the angle playing out where Miro actually does get his hands on Jake's and hurts him, and maybe even furthers that feud or something to that effect. But overall, really, really liked Miro's promo. I think, again, this plays to the point too, how much criticism was thrown at Miro when he first debuted, and the angle that he was put in with the video gaming and all that stuff. It's, obviously that could still have a lasting effect to some people, but I think in a lot of ways he's kind of dispelled all that at this point, even at this juncture, with a promo this past Wednesday, and then even the week before, showing that new attitude and stuff. Puts Miro in a really, really damn good light, and makes him one of the most intriguing characters of Dynamite, I would say. This was, you want to talk about a defining moment. I think this was at least the big, the bloom of what we're going to see of new Miro is that promo this past week. I really liked it a lot. Something else that I liked a lot was I'm flying solo this week. Guess who else is flying solo? It's Frankie Kazarian. Now, he cut a promo too, and it was kind of cool. Daniels didn't know what he was going to do and whispered something to Kaz, and then kind of left the door open. Like, Kaz left the door open for CD to do his own thing and maybe come back to the ring. I think we will see Christopher Daniels back in the ring at some point, maybe down the road, and against a viable opponent in a lot of ways. But I like that Kaz is planning to take out the Elite one by one, basically. And I kind of compared it on Twitter to, if you're familiar with the video game Max Payne, where Max Payne's just like this, he's his own guy. He's like a detective that was kind of like thrown out in a way, or, dismissed and addicted to painkillers and all this stuff, and had this dreary, drabby life ahead of him where he was such a pessimist and all that stuff. They were really fun to play on the PlayStation game consoles. And then Max Payne 3 was a lot of fun. I freaking want that game to be available to play on Xbox or a modern system right now, because it's killing me. I have to have the PS3 to play it, and I don't have the PS3 right now. But anyways, very Max Payne-esque on Kaz's part. And I think that's a really intriguing angle for him to go. And, somebody that's also on that path is kind of Christian at this moment in time too, because he's working his way up and trying to chip away and get to that world title. And his quick ticket there might be the Casino Royale Battle Royal, or the Casino. Did I say it right? Casino Battle Royal. There it is. So I think what they did to win that match too, to open the show, was very, very good too. Again, I say this almost every week. Dynamite does a very good job at changing how they set the tone for the show with an opener. And they give so much variety to it. So you got two veterans in there to start the show off this week with Matt Sydal and Christian. Then you have like a tag match started off like the other week between I think it was like Young Bucks and somebody else. That was real quick, fast paced. Just a lot of variety going on. And that's a good way to get the gears turning. But yeah, I thought this was cool. I thought the indirect alliance, I guess, if you want to call it that, with Christian. Who else came out there too? Oh, Matt Sydal, and then of course Hangman Page, and them kind of feuding with Team Taz, or teasing a feud with Team Taz, while Hangman's going up against Brian Cage at Double or Nothing. I think the Casino Royale Battle Royal still set up pretty well too, with potential for good feuds in there, because you also had Dark Order come out. They're obviously going to be a factor in the Battle Royal. So like there's some stuff there that ties it in together. And but yeah, so Christian's doing a very good job. Like I think, him as a veteran. Now I'm trying to think before I say this, but I think as like a veteran talent to come in from WWE, that we're so associated with WWE with, and being in AEW now. So you have guys like Paul White, and you have who else came in from WWE that's like, so Matt Cardona had a cup of coffee in AEW. There's somebody else, I'm sure. But certain people that they brought in, I mean. But I think I think Christian's the one that's really making the most of it at this moment in time. He's given the opportunity, like he's given the time on the show, but I think he's making the most of it. And he's another intriguing guy, the seasoned grizzled vet that you can kind of put your chips behind and root for and see where he's going. And I think at this point we could really see him go up against Kenny Omega. He could be the winner of the Casino Royale Battle Royal, or Casino Battle Royal. So hard for me to say. Yeah, I thought that was good opener, and Christian's in the right light. And again, Matt Sydal is somebody that's gotten some chance to show a little bit too. And he's been there for almost a year now, or over a year at this. No, it's going on a year, because he showed up Double or Nothing, right? Was it last year? But yeah, and Christian even took a dig at him for that. But yeah, good match. Nice to see Serena Deeb back. I thought she did a very good job in her bout against Red Velvet, and both women are very talented, and Serena Deeb is just so methodical and well thought out when it comes to having a match. It's very cool to see. And like Marcus praises her high, all up, down, left, right, and I agree with him. I think you have a lot. The women's division is in really good shape, I think, in AEW right now. I really do. And you look at how it was from a year ago. You have now, I mean, we say this weekend, week out too. You have Thunder Rosa, you have Serena Deeb, you have Britt Baker, you have Sheeta there, you have Ty Conte in the wings, you have oh my gosh, you have not Nyla Rose. Oh my god, why am I blanking? Yeah, it is Nyla Rose, isn't it? Yeah, Nyla Rose. And then you have it's like there's a lot of good talent there. That's Layla Hirsch, like good shit, real good shit. And they have their own personalities and the capability. Red Velvet, like we just saw her. It's just like really, really good ladies in position to make that division stand out. And you know what? Not to take away or disparage anything from the women in WWE are so damn talented, and that's obvious. That's obvious. Like Charlotte, obviously Becky's not there right now, but I mean Sasha Banks, Bayley, really somebody that floated way above what we were seeing for the pandemic. Like she's somebody that flourished during the pandemic. But you see those women, and it's just the way WWE structures their booking and everything like that. That is a detriment to the women's division in there. Right now, AEW's women's division doesn't have to worry about that. And now airtime might be one thing, but their ability to showcase who they are and what they're about while they're in the ring, whether it's on Dark or Elevation or Dynamite, I think there's the opportunity to strike is now with the women's division. And I think it's a very, very strong aspect that really has great markability. Like Thunder Rosa's just, you could just see, action figures, everything like that, posters, people paint their face like Darby Allin. Thunder Rosa would be the perfect one for that too. For girls, guys, whoever. I think it's she reaches across that platform, and obviously Britt Baker does too with her own attitude and everything. And then you have Red Velvet has her own shtick, and Sheeta has her own thing. Really, really cool stuff. Now's the time to strike for the AEW's women's division. And I think they're charging up them flames, and it'll be cool. Jade Cargill, I think is great. And will she get a manager? Will she get Mark Sterling? It's looking like it's going to be Mark Sterling, eh? But I think Jade Cargill is going to really run the show there and create another unique look, everything like that. Man, the women's division, now is the time. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And, if they do it, like, that's going to be the one to tune in for women's wrestling is AEW. Now, NXT does a very good job too with their women, but I think there's some flames sparking with the AEW women's division, very much so in a lot of ways, not just from what we see on Dynamite and the women that get their opportunities too. On Dark was a lot that I saw in the Mission Pro show, the Thunder Rosa-based promotion out of San Antonio. Maddie Redkowski, there's Jasmine Allure. Oh my gosh, what's the other woman's name that's wrestled on both too? Oh man, that's gonna kill me. She has like almost a Game of Thrones gimmick, but she's very good too. So much cool stuff happening. I'm really big into the women's division right now. I think it's very, very good in AEW. Give me your thoughts if you feel so inclined. Let's see. Stadium Stampede. All right. The Inner Circle cut promo. Again, real good stuff. Intensity. I really like Inner Circle's new look. It gives that rebellious, like, gang, kick your ass kind of feel to it. And I think they did a very good job this week at Jericho. I tell you what, Jericho looked like Jericho from like 2001. Like, people say he's like, sometimes he looks old and stuff. He did not whatsoever to me. I was like, if you put a picture of him like from 2001, 2002, like where he had those the barbed wire trunks, if you remember those, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference, honestly. I thought he looked really, really good. And and that's a cool thing. Jericho's smart that he knows that, you put, and this applies to life. This does not just apply to wrestling. This applies to life and I work at Whole Foods as my day job. So what's kind of neat is I work with a coworker. Now we used to work more often together, but now he works like once a week. And so I see him on occasion, but we're very, very good friends. The funny thing is though, we're really close friends. He's the same as my dad. So like 30 years older than me. But you know what? We hang out, he doesn't drink, but we go out to dinner, like me, him, and a couple other coworkers. We shoot the shit, everything like that. So if you hang around younger people, you're going to feel younger, you're going to be younger. And Jericho, I think, is really benefiting from that in the Inner Circle. And especially with guys like Sammy in there and Santana Ortiz, like cool guys, like, Santana and Ortiz, especially. Damn, like Ortiz, what a promo he's able to cut too, huh? That's what I think. I think he's doing a very good job. Hey, James Espanto, Fernando Taguay. He says the women's division of AEW started off anorexic, but now it's becoming quite robust. James, I agree with you, brother. Yep. Heck yeah. Just really, really cool stuff. What's going on there? I'd like to, I think we did get two matches it was two matches this week on Dynamite with the women, but I definitely like to see, and they all play a factor. Like Britt had her moment, and then Jade Cargill had her stuff. So there's some times to flex it in there. I think you can do it even a little bit more. But with Rampage coming up, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for that. And if you do it right, we'll talk about that in a second. I want to make sure I covered everything I wanted to with Inner Circle. Oh no, okay. So let me see. Inner Circle stuff. As far as Stadium Stampede goes, they've already made mention that it's going to be serious. Like, it's going to be more serious. It's not going to be, and I think that's the route to take, honestly. It's going to be kind of tough because it's like camera angles and, not necessarily in front of the crowd. Maybe part of it will be in front of the crowd. But, obviously it's going to be in the stadium, Jaguar Stadium. So unless they have fans positioned to sit in there, it's going to be in front of nobody, but it's going to be a brawl. So, but heck, you look at it, what they do with the parking lot brawl, they pulled that off. So there's certain ways to do it. But I think it's step 2 in at least a 3-step process with this feud. Obviously, I really do think Inner Circle is going to win. I mean, I can't imagine them losing again and breaking up, but I think they're in a new, I just can't imagine it, because I think what they're doing now is like defining themselves, further solidifying themselves as a group with this new look, this new attitude and all that stuff. So I can't imagine them breaking up. So I will say Inner Circle will win. Obviously, then you have to have the rubber match. Now everybody would think Me Too. Likewise, Blood and Guts should have been the third and final match, whatever it was. But now what are they going to do after the third match? There's plenty of things to think about there. I would like to see maybe not take a pause on the feud, obviously, but maybe take steps building towards that third and final match when you have singles matches between the two groups. You have tag matches, all these different stuff going on maybe, and you can play that out for a while. And I think it could still remain fresh, because I think there's a lot of opportunity to show who Shawn Spears is now. More time to show FTR, Wardlow, somebody that could really benefit from that. More attitude and mic time for Santana Ortiz, Sammy Guevara going up against, like, you could seriously make this a pay-per-view match. I think is Sammy versus MJF. I think there's something to do with that. Even especially if you play into maybe Jericho gets taken out at Stadium Stampede, and then Sammy was looking for vengeance, and I think you could really build a feud over that for quite a while. So yeah, I think, take your time after this. Things, I don't want to say things got rushed, but things were kind of crammed in there to get to that Blood and Guts, and then to get to Stadium Stampede, little bit moved quickly. So I don't think there's anything wrong with maybe pacing it out a little bit after this and creating some stuff, giving these guys opportunities to showcase who they are, who have particularly not got that chance. Steven Chambers chimes in. Hey, Dominic, a lot going on with AEW. Who's replacing Rey Fenix at the pay-per-view? Now, Rey is in the Battle Royal, is he not? I'm trying to think. I don't think he was in a singles match, was he? Let me try to look up the Dynamite card here. Not Dynamite, the Double or Nothing. But as far as replacing Rey Fenix, gosh, I'm sure they have a surprise on tap, but not for replacing Rey Fenix. I feel like he would be more so. Jeez, let me see if he's. Hold on, Double or Nothing. I'm super multitasking here. Double or Nothing. Jeez, oh man. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Double or Nothing card. But as far as the Casino, anybody have any guesses on who might be the mystery guy? Who teased that it was going to be Hook? Somebody, co-talent teased that it was going to be Hook on there, and I think Hook would be cool, but I don't think he's going to be the one. Okay, so I'm looking at the card here. Casino Royale Battle Royal. Let's see. Control, find Rey. Okay, Rey's not even listed on the card here. Let's see, where's Penta? Penta's got to be on here, right? Penta's on here. Okay, so Penta was in I imagine Rey Fenix was in the Battle Royal then, right? I don't know, Steven, if they're going to really, if there's somebody in particular maybe that will stand out to replace him. But geez, who would you guys like to see? Because, nobody's contract is up at this moment in time. Paul White, that'd be interesting. I could not imagine maybe Captain Insano. That would be pretty good. Shoot. Would I like Paul White in the Battle Royal? I think I would. I wouldn't necessarily like him to maybe win, but I think there's a lot to have him included in the match. Yeah, that could be a good one there, James. He might even be the surprise, honestly. But thanks for the plug too. Follow all us on the old Twitter machine there. But yeah, it sucks Ray Phoenix is hurt. He's so good, man. Just that ability to what he's able to do and capable of doing. And I think him more so even than Penta kind of gave him Death Triangle, that babyface vibe. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle Pac moving forward and Penta. I really like Penta kind of as the heel, don't you guys? I feel like he's just really good with Abraham there as his like quote unquote interpreter. He doesn't really need the translator, but he's his translator there anyways. Plus, Penta in a suit just looks badass. I just think there's a lot to do with him as a heel. And heck, I would even be okay with somehow if they worked out where Death Triangle, I guess it's a line at this moment, but where Pac is a babyface, but somehow Penta is a heel, but somehow they're still friends. I would kind of still be okay with that. People would maybe take exception to that, but I think I would be all right with that, especially if they pulled it off in the right manner. But that's kind of tough to do too. Anyways, but yeah, I think Paul White's a pretty good bet for who might be the surprise, unless you really pull somebody out of wild that really blows our minds. Like, God, I mean, like you name it. Samoa Joe, he's not 90 days, is he? I think he's not 90 days. Or no, I'm thinking Andrade. Never mind. Andrade would be pretty wild, right? With him going AAA and all that stuff. And then him showing up here, that'd be kind of cool. I'd be all right with Andrade, yeah? That'd be pretty neat. Let's see. Let's see if I want to run down anything on the card here of Double or Nothing now that I have it up. Pretty much talked about that. Hangman Brian Cage, that should be good. I like those two guys. I think their styles complement one another very well. Britt Baker versus Kirishito. Yeah, Britt, I think, is gonna go over there. So the build for what Kenny, Orange Cassidy, and Pac this past week, I thought was all right. I think it's another step in like building that anticipation to seeing when Orange Cassidy blows up. Not blows up like flips out, but we see that fire get lit under him, almost like Finn Balor's demon. But the Orange Cassidy is like where he shows like whoa intensity and stuff like that. I think they're really building to that up to Double or Nothing here. Maybe we'll see that on the Friday show here of Dynamite. But yeah, overall I kind of liked it. I liked that it was just Kenny in the office there with Doc Samson standing in the background, and then him just kind of like running down Orange Cassidy and trying to get him to sign a contract where Orange didn't sign, that kind of thing. I kind of liked all that. So they're just working towards it. I think it's pretty good so far. I mean, me, I'm a big advocate of Orange Cassidy, and I think they can really do a lot with him. And I think again, he's somebody like a Thunder Rosa that reaches across to a wider audience. And a lot of wrestling like purists don't like that thing. But the thing about Orange, what's so ironic about him is he always stays in character, which is old school. How many people you can name maybe on one hand how many people stay on character now completely? MJF, Orange, even Bray Wyatt breaks character from time to time, right? Roman Reigns, I guess. Now he doesn't break any character. Trying to think who else. If you guys name some people, if you guys anybody else doesn't break character right now, can be a heel or babyface, but give me some people. So I have Orange, MJF, Roman Reigns. Did I say somebody else? I mean, you could count somebody like a Darby Allin, but Darby Allin's just kind of who he is. So, but yeah, let's see. Questions here in the meantime. Steven says, won't be surprised if Christian Cage wins Double or Nothing if they're really pushing him quickly. Yeah. It's a good way to get him moving instead of, building it up over time. I don't know what would be more beneficial to him. He kind of seems ready for the main event at this point, though, already, right? I mean, obviously he's an established talent, but like he's relatively obviously new to AEW. But like, would I like to see that journey go on a little bit more till he gets to that title shot? I kind of think I would. So I would not like to see him win actually at Double or Nothing. I would like to see him more on that path that Kaz is going on almost. I'd really like to see them do a lot with Kaz. I really would. Honestly, like, I think he's just such a cool, just still capable in the ring, got a good look, was able to cut a promo. I think you position him in the right, like, I'm just all about the Max Payne vibes. Shave his head, have him grow a beard, wear a Hawaiian shirt like Max Payne does in Max Payne 3. I'm all for just going in all Max Payne with Frankie Kazarian. But no, I would like to see them tell that story a little bit more instead of him just winning. But I'd almost like to see just somebody that's kind of like, not necessarily an underdog, but maybe somebody that we don't really think about. Be like, oh, wow, he's in line for a title? That'd be kind of cool. Somebody with that kind of vibe happening. Penta. I'd like Penta to win with the suit. Not with the suit on, but he wins and then he starts wearing the suit more. That's what I would like to see. Rich says, do you see Mox and Kingston winning the tag belts? Yes, I do. I think, Bucks are relatively new champions with the titles, but I think they can lose it and still keep their attitude. I don't think they necessarily need the belts. I think that fires up solidifies more the alliance between Mox and Kingston. Not that we need some more, but I think it just makes them more of a viable force and puts them in a better position, even at where they're at now, if they have the belts on them. Because I just think they're such a good act. Kingston's such a good babyface promo. Mox, obviously, one of the top, if not the top, babyface promo in the business right now. I'm trying to think who would be better promo-wise. Like, I've made the argument, I think Darby's like the biggest babyface, best babyface in wrestling at this moment in time, but I think the argument could be made for Moxley. People could really make the argument for Cody too, and I could see that a lot too. I think Cody gets too much of a rough rap in regards to a lot of stuff. Well, that's something I still have to talk about too, actually too. James says, I would love to see Orange Cassidy have an alter ego where he is the exact opposite himself, but he doesn't recognize his alter ego, kind of like Abyss did with Joseph. Would I like that? Maybe if you pulled it off right. I also think there's that thing with Orange, though, where it's like we're already, if you're somebody that's intrigued by Orange, you're buying into what he's selling at this moment in time. So if you add another layer of that where he's got an alter ego too, I think that kind of polarizes it even further. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, I'm buying into the aspect of Orange not giving a shit and kind of being like, I don't care. And then him finding that fire, I think, is already his alter ego. So if you were to give him like an actual alter ego where he kind of forgets what happened, I don't know if it would necessarily click that well. Maybe not for me. I don't know. Maybe if you do it right, I could see it differently. But from that angle, I think I just kind of like it where he's at, where there's that certain aspect. Once that competitive flame ignites, he's gone. I like that aspect of it. I think that's a good enough alter ego form, if that makes sense, James. Steven says, I'd like to see more New Japan talent in AEW. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's really cool. Yuji Nagata in there was really, really cool. Kenta making that cup of coffee there was really, really cool. I think you could really, if Okada shows up, damn, that'd be damn awesome. Tama Tonga, be really good to see. You can see him going up against Mox, Kingston, Guerrillas of Destiny going up against Mox and Kingston. How cool would that be? That'd be pretty badass. I would like that a lot. Trying to think. It's been a while since I've sat down and really honed in on New Japan, but obviously the talents there. Will Ospreay's out, so he'd be neat to see too. Tanahashi, duh, that'd be great. It'd be really good. Especially him and Jericho, you could kind of do something. So yeah, I think I'm with you on that, Stephen. I'd like to see that too. Obviously, they got a lot of their own homegrown talent that they got to flex. And heck, you got Impact. Impact's, they got to do something with Impact. I know Impact is they're the ones getting the rub more so than AEW doing stuff and that kind of thing. But Impact doesn't even get a very much mentioned at all on Dynamite. And I think it's on Impact too, in a lot of ways, to kind of put themselves in that position. You know what? I will be forthright here. I don't like Moose. I don't think he's very good. He's got a look, obviously, but everything else, and he's good. He's talented from an athletic standpoint, but that's not who I put my chips behind in Impact Wrestling. They've done that before, and he's gotten them nothing. And I don't think he really gives a whole lot to the Impact Wrestling product. I mentioned this in a chat with some of the WrestleZone guys. I think Jake Something is somebody that they really should have put all in on as their champion. He should have won the match. Obviously, I'm a huge James Storm fan, so like he was somebody I was rooting for, and Moose took him out. Now, not that obviously I wanted James Storm to win, but I think he would have been a much more cooler opponent for Kenny Omega at Slammiversary than Moose, because he's got that connection to TNA. He's got that history behind him, where Moose, nobody really ties their wagon to Moose, honestly. Like, I just don't see the appeal to him, honestly. Like, there's so many other talented guys there, like from Chris Bay to Willie Mack to like I said, Jake Something. Heck, Joe Doring's awesome, man. Joe Doring's really freaking cool. Trey Miguel, geez. I think they have to work to building some guys like that up a little bit more. I think there's something that I know I'm kind of going off on a side here. That part of it needs to be, Impact needs to get a little bit more focused, but heck, it is on them to make their product intriguing. And I think Impact does deliver an intriguing product. I look forward to Thursday nights and covering that show. And because there is some talent there. I'm not just some, there is talent there. Deonna Purrazzo, Taylor Wilde's really cool to see back. I think she's got a kind of a neat theme. If you guys have heard that, I think she's pretty cool. But yeah, I think, Impact is somebody that I would, like to see kind of get more of a focus on Dynamite, but they got their own, AEW's got their own stars to worry about. And that's a big thing too. So with Rampage coming up, there's opportunities to do that. Now, to make that kind of unique, how would you do it? Obviously, I wouldn't do a split like of brands. I don't know about that. Would you guys like a brand split? Even saying that makes me cringe a little bit. But I think, if you define each show, so Rampage, you make that more of a focus for whether it's tag and certain divisions. So tag and say the TNT title is more of a focus there. Now, whoa, wait a second. TNT title, it's going to be on TBS. What's happening there? Huh? What is that? Because is Dynamite staying on TNT, or are they going to TBS too? I can't remember. Man, I don't know. That's tough. Now my gears are turning. Anyways, you define each show, make it stand out, and like put a focus, on a division. Marcus is always plugging for a cruiserweight division in AEW, and I used to be against it, but now I'm seeing some potential for something like that, right? I don't know. Something like that would be pretty darn cool, where you got a singles title, and then you have the tag titles on one of the shows. Make that more focused. I wouldn't make them overflow one another with too much. I would almost define it in its own way, where you have this certain roster on there. Now, not necessarily a strict brand split, but something that really defines each show. I'm with you, James. No brand splits yet. You also said, let's see. Honestly, I'd love to see Impact getting folded into AEW, if nothing else for the video catalog and trademarks like LAX. Yeah, right? I mean, that's the thing, too, is AEW. People criticize AEW for having all this product on, YouTube and, Elevation and Dark and all these matches and stuff like that. What are they building is not only they're building win-loss records, there's no harm in having a YouTube program. Sorry, my phone's blowing up. I should really silence this. But not only do you have that, you're building your win-loss records and you're giving these guys experiences, stuff like that, but you're building your video catalog for stuff down the road. there's a lot of benefits to having it and less detriments. You could say your product's oversaturated, but heck, if you're a wrestling fan and if you're specifically an AEW fan and you want to tune into these shows, you're going to make an effort to go to YouTube and watch this stuff. It's not hitting you. It's not punching you in the face where it's like, hey, this is here and you have to watch it. So it's like the option. It's an added bonus if you want it. So there's benefits to having it. Now, yeah, and that would be cool. LAX, calling him LAX. I'm surprised that didn't work out yet. I would make some sort of trade in regards for creative property or something with Impact. Be like, hey, give us LAX. How about that? Can we rent it? Can we rent it for a little bit? Can you be our last blockbuster? Something? Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. Would you retire TNT title, rename it, or keep the name? Maybe something like the Dynamite Television Championship. See, that'd be kind of cool. I think TNT title is fine, honestly, because it's a Turner product. It's a Turner property, and people know what TNT is. And heck, it kind of ties into Dynamite TNT. Kind of works, right? I think it's all right. It's a cool looking belt too. And it's a young belt, so I don't know how much I would really change too much at this juncture. It was something to kind of think about, especially if it making the leap to TBS. Maybe they would rename it then, and then they could kind of keep the look, but kind of hone it a little bit in certain. Maybe call it the Turner Championship. I don't know. Stuff to think about. I don't know. All right. Let me get my plugs in. And if you guys have any more questions, James or whoever else, feel free to chime in before I close on out, and I'll try to answer them here. But let's see what I have going on here. WrestleZone, episode 5. I plugged this for the past couple of weeks, but episode 5 of Meet the Wrestler will be coming out this week, and it will be Will Allday. Now, if you may be familiar with him on AEW Dark or Dark Elevation. Really talented. He really cut his teeth in ROW Booker T's promotion, so he talks to me about that and talks to me about his philosophy in wrestling, which is very smart, very modern, but very smart. And you can even, there's a little preview of it. Thank you, James. Great show. Have a great rest. You too, James. Thanks, brother. But yeah, very smart and very in tune with who he is and what his plans are. So I think really cool. Even if you're an independent talent wrestler, I think it's a good listen or a good watch because it's going to be video and audio. But please tune into that. Very, very good young talent coming in. I'm rooting for him. So it's going to be very cool. Les Thatcher, I just interviewed as well. That audio is up. And it's an hour and a half, and we talk a lot about different things from Brian Pillman Memorial, him putting all that on, him creating the first wrestling T-shirt, and so much more. Now, we talked about Impact a little bit. Our editor, Bill Pritchard, interviewed W. Morrissey, also known as Big Cass. I think he's another guy that Impact should really put their chips behind, and looks like they may be doing that. But very good stuff. Geez, let me see if I can pop on YouTube here real quick, see what else we got kicking. But little program update. As you can see, Marcus is not here today, so he will. Therefore, we are not going to have WCW Rewritten this week. Now that will be coming up soon enough. Now next week I will be in Jacksonville for Double or Nothing, and doing coverage there for WrestleZone. So I will be on hand, on assignment, if you will. And so Rewritten might be off for a couple weeks, but stay tuned to the social media stuff. We're going to put some clips and stuff to help people get caught up. And yeah, get caught up if you're interested. It's a great show. Marcus does a really good job. And I'm not just saying that because he's my asshole brother. I'm saying it just because he's very thorough with it, and comes up with some pretty cool creative stuff and intriguing feuds. So, yeah, look out for that. That'll be coming up, not next week, but the week after, but just a little brief hiatus. Oh, yeah, this is a great interview that we have up. Is Roxy. Now, she is associated with ROH at the moment, but you want to talk about a prodigy. Roxy is it. she started wrestling very young, and Colin Tessier interviews her for us. And wow, what a talent. She's amazing. Like future star, no doubt, is Roxy. So we have that up on not our just our podcast feed, but on YouTube too. So check that out. And then we also, Bill also interviewed Bill Pritchard, our editor, interviewed Eric Redbeard. So some cool stuff going on, plus more to come. I'm not sure who else we got on tap, but we always get the interviews kicking here, guys. It's fun to, wow, to be on WrestleZone. And, this is a site I followed before I even started working here. And I was like, wow, WrestleZone, if that was a site, like if I thought of a wrestling website, this was one of them, this Observer, Torch, all that stuff. And, but yeah, heck, as the casual wrestling fan, I would go to WrestleZone, and get updates there. And even when I did subscribe to like the Torch and stuff like that to get my news, I would go to WrestleZone because it's just like that immediacy stuff where you have a paywall in certain regards with other stuff, but this, bam, instant access to news and stuff like that. So it's pretty wild to be like, hey, I'm writing for this site now. Going on 3 years too, over 3 years. Damn, it is over 3 years. I started in April of 2018, so over 3 years I've been here at WrestleZone. So thanks for having me, guys. All right. Yep. You can follow me on Twitter at Dominic D'Angelo there. Follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. And go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling news needs. And guys, thank you for tuning in to this solo episode of two Dynamite Dudes with Attitude. Hey, I'm flying solo like Frankie Kazarian and Max Payne. All right. See you guys next week. Well, sometime next week. I'll see you at Double or Nothing.